Well, welcome Year 10 to Lesson 15 of our Flipped Classroom tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at equations that involve powers. So what do we know? We know that the opposite of x squared is the square root of x. So let's look at this equation. X squared equals 4. Now you can see in circles the squared part is what I want to get rid of. I want x all by itself, so I look at that squared and think I want to remove it. So to remove a squared, we must square root both sides. And if we do so, on the left hand side we remove the 2, and on the right hand side we get the square root of whatever number is on that side. But in this case, the square root of 4. Now if you know what the square root of 4 is, we would find that simplified down to x equals 2. Alright, the important part. Let's look at this. When we are finding the square root of a number, you are simply trying to find what number is being multiplied by itself to get the number underneath the root symbol. So, to find the square root of 4, we're trying to find what number can be multiplied by itself to get 4. In this case, what times what equals 4. Now we know that one answer is 2 times 2 equals 4. Therefore, the square root of 4 is 2. So the number that is times by itself to get 4 is 2. Alright, let's look at another possibility. What times what equals 4? We also know that minus 2 times minus 2 equals 4. Two negatives times together will always give us a positive. So in this case, the square root of 4 has another solution, negative 2. What we need to understand is that from this, the square root of 4 has two solutions, plus or minus 2. And if you look to the bottom of the screen, that is how we would actually write it, with a plus and minus symbol together. So always remember that when you have an equation such as x squared equals something, if you would like to remove the squared and square root both sides, you will have two solutions, and x will become plus or minus the square root of whatever the number is. So for example, x squared equals 5. We want to get rid of the squared. How do we do it? We take the square root of both sides. But we need to understand that when we do, on the left hand side the square disappears, but on the right hand side we get two solutions, plus or minus the square root of 5. So let's look at a harder example. 9x squared plus 10 equals 13. Now, we know that from both sides we want to deal with the 10. Let's get rid of the 10. It's a plus 10, so to do so let's minus 10 from both sides. If we do so, we'd be left with 9x squared equals 3. Now what we need to get rid of next is the 9. So what do? We divide both sides of the equation by 9. If we do so, that will disappear on the left hand side, and we're left with x squared equals 3 over 9. Now the last thing we want to get rid of is the squared. So how do we do it? Well, we square root both sides. But as we do that, we have to remember that when we do, we will get a plus and a negative solution. So on the left hand side the square disappears and we're left with x, but on the right hand side we have a positive and a negative solution of the square root of 1 over 3, or 3/9 simplified. Alright, well we'll do a lot of examples of these in class, and we'll be looking at quadratic formulas very soon after this as well. Alright, well I'll see you then.